Okay, Walter Wofford here, short-term rental cash flow roadmap. And we got another piece today, and I want to tell you that I would not be in this business without this one tool, and it's called Hospitable. It automates 90% of the messaging. It coordinates calendars. It does so much more, and it uses AI. For example, if a potential guest asks a question, how far is this house from the fairgrounds? AI answers the question. Pretty remarkable. And it's not expensive. It costs about $100 for 5 properties per month. So I want to make it part of your toolbox. As always, I got my AI people, Bill and Judy, to help me with the content and the delivery. So if you'd like a copy of this ebook, simply pull out your phone, square up on the QR code, hit the button, and enter your information, and I'll send it directly to you. Okay, automations with Hospitable.
Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something incredibly relevant if you're involved in short-term rentals, or even if you're just fascinated by how tech is reshaping industries.
Absolutely.
We're diving into the world of STR automation, and we're guided today by an article from Walter Wofford called Hospitable, the ultimate automation engine for STR hosts.
Right. And this deep dive, it's really all about unpacking the core message from this piece, how a platform like Hospitable is trying to solve the biggest headaches for hosts who are looking to grow.
Exactly. We want to abstract the most important nuggets, look at the key features, the real-world impact Wofford talks about.
All straight from the source material. The goal is to help you understand what this kind of automation actually looks like on the ground.
Yeah.
And well, why it might genuinely change the game for you.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
Let's do it.
So Walter Wofford's article, it really kicks off by setting the scene, painting that picture of the problem.
Yeah, the reality of running an STR. Sounds great, maybe, but the source highlights just how incredibly time-intensive it is and repetitive.
Think about it from your own experience, or just imagine it for a second, that constant flood of guest inquiries asking the same things over and over.
Yep, sending check-in instructions, coordinating cleaners, chasing reviews.
Keeping those calendars perfectly synced across Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com. I mean, even for just one property, that's easily hours every single week.
And what the source really stresses is that if you try to scale, maybe go beyond 1 or 2 units, that workload, it doesn't just double, it explodes.
Right.
It becomes this huge operational burden, and that's where a lot of hosts just hit a wall. They can't grow their portfolio easily.
Okay, so this is the perfect setup for where the article introduces Hospitable. It used to be called Smart BnB, apparently.
That's right.
And it's presented not just as, another app, but as an intelligent automation solution built specifically for hosts wanting to expand without getting completely bogged down.
Yeah, without being glued to their phone 24/7.
So what's the core promise here, according to Wofford's piece?
Well, it's about tackling those exact time-sucking tasks we just talked about. Automating the busy work.
Giving hosts back their time.
Exactly. Giving hosts back significant free time, and crucially, doing it while actually improving the guest experience, all managed from one central dashboard.
Okay.
And the source makes a pretty bold claim here. It suggests this thing can automate up to 90% of guest communication.
Wow, 90%. That sounds almost too good to be true. How does the article say it actually does that? What's the mechanism?
It seems like the foundation is what they call smart automated messaging.
Okay.
And the piece describes this as being driven by AI-powered rules. The idea is to send personalized messages that sound natural, but delivered precisely when they're needed.
And it covers the whole guest life cycle, it sounds like, based on the source.
Right. Everything from, answering pre-booking questions automatically to sending booking confirmations, detailed check-in instructions. And this is neat. It can automatically pull in specific details like door codes or Wi-Fi passwords for that specific booking.
Ah, personalized details.
Yeah. Then reminders during the stay, checkout instructions, and even following up afterwards to ask for reviews. It covers the whole sequence.
What sounds really interesting, and the article seems to highlight this, is the intelligence behind when messages are sent, triggering by time or events.
Exactly. You can set rules like send this message 2 days before arrival. or trigger based on specific events happening in the booking process. It can even apparently handle conditional messaging adapting if it's, say, a last-minute booking versus one made months ago.
The example message they included in the source is pretty good, actually. It shows how human it can sound.
What was that one again?
It was like, "Hi, guest first name. We're thrilled to host you this Friday. The keypad code will be sent 24 hours before your check-in. Let me know if you need recommendations for dinner in Fondren."
See, it uses those placeholders for personalization, like the guest's name, but it reads like a real person typed it, not robotic.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so messaging sounds like a massive time saver. But we know the other huge headache for hosts is juggling listings, right? Airbnb, Vrbo, maybe Booking.com.
Oh yeah, the channel chaos.
How does the source say Hospitable deals with that? That's where the channel management feature comes in.
Exactly. The article really emphasizes the real-time synchronization. Availability, messages, reservations, all synced across your different platforms.
So what are the key bits Wofford points out there?
Well, a unified inbox is a big one, pulling all guest communication, regardless of the platform it came from, into one single place.
Okay, that's helpful.
A central calendar, so you have one view of all your bookings. And maybe most critically, reservation syncing.
Ah, the double booking killer.
It's the idea. It's designed to prevent that nightmare scenario where someone books on Airbnb milliseconds before someone else grabs the same dates on Vrbo.
Yeah, that's a big one. The article even mentions integrating with iCal.
Yeah, which is useful. iCal is that standard calendar format, so it means you could potentially sync your Hospitable calendar out to, say, your Google Calendar, or maybe even connect it with some dynamic pricing tools you might be using. Keep everything talking to each other.
Right, keeping whole ecosystem connected. Okay, so we've got communication, we've got channel syncing. What about the actual operations on the ground, like managing cleaners?
Yeah, the article dives into a team management feature for that.
Which seems pretty crucial if you're trying to scale.
Just definitely.
Yeah.
The piece explains you can basically assign cleaners or maintenance people or any team member to specific listings.
Okay.
And then the platform automatically sends them notifications when they need them, like for checkouts, any changes to the guest schedule, or those last-minute bookings that pop
I
up.
can customize those messages too, like add checklists.
Yes, include checklists, specific access instructions for that property, whatever they need. And a detail the source highlights, which seems quite practical, is that the cleaners don't need their own separate login or app. They just get their tasks via email or text message. Simple for them.
That makes sense. Does the article give an example of how that flow works?
Yeah, it lays out a pretty clear use case. Guest checks out. Cleaner automatically gets a notification with their specific task list for that turnover.
Right.
Once they finish the job, they can just confirm it, maybe by replying to the email or text. And then you, the host, get a log of that completion right in your dashboard.
So no more manual texting back and forth, is it done yet?
Exactly. And the bonus mentioned is that it stores this task history, which could be handy for, tracking performance or just having a record.
Okay. Automating messages, syncing channels, coordinating teams, that covers a lot. But the source mentions something potentially really game-changing. The direct booking website feature.
Ah, yes. That sounds powerful.
It really does. It sounds like a way to potentially cut out those big platform fees.
It is. The article positions this as a built-in engine right within Hospitable. It lets you create and manage your own custom website to take bookings directly.
And the big appeal, according to Wofford,
is bypassing those platform service fees, which the article notes can be as high as 15%. That's significant potential savings.
Definitely. What else can you do with that direct booking engine, based on the article?
It details quite a few capabilities. Collecting payments securely, usually via Stripe integration. Offering special discounts, maybe for repeat guests to encourage loyalty.
Nice.
Setting your own cancellation policies, handling tax collection properly, and importantly, managing guest screening and damage deposits directly.
And the article suggests pairing this with another tool, StayFi.
Yeah, it mentions StayFi. That's a service that provides managed guest Wi-Fi. But the hook is it captures guest contact info, like email addresses when they log in.
Ah, so you build your own marketing list.
Precisely. To remarket to past guests and encourage them to book directly with you next time, saving those platform fees again.
Smart. And speaking of screening and deposits, the source also flags guest screening and insurance as a specific capability.
Right. They apparently partner with specialized tools for this. The article mentions AutoHost for screening.
Which uses data to assess guest risk.
Kind of, yeah. And Superhog for things like damage protection and verifying guest IDs.
And the article stresses this is especially important for direct bookings.
Exactly. When you don't have the platform's limited protection, having your own robust screening and protection is crucial. It allows you to do things like mandate ID collection, set up damage waivers, make sure guests explicitly agree to your house rules up front, protect your assets.
So hearing about all these features is one thing, but does the article give us any, concrete examples? Did this actually work for someone?
It does. It tells the story of Maria. She's presented as an STR investor who started out managing just 2 properties.
Okay.
And according to Wofford's account, by implementing Hospitable, she managed to scale her operation up to 10 units.
10 units without hiring staff.
Without needing to hire additional staff.
Right.
That's the key point the article makes.
Wow. Okay, that's some serious operational leverage right there. What specific results does the article attribute to her using the platform?
The results highlighted are pretty impressive, actually. Her average guest response time reportedly dropped to under 60 seconds.
Which is huge for platform algorithms.
Huge. She also maintained her Airbnb superhost status across all 10 properties, which speaks volumes about consistency.
Yeah, that's not easy.
And she apparently saw a 70% reduction in those repetitive guest questions, presumably because the automated messaging was proactively giving guests the info they needed before they asked.
Makes sense. Any financial impact mentioned?
Yes, the source states that by adding that direct booking site we talked about, Maria saved over $2,000 in platform fees in just 6 months.
$2,000 in 6 months just from direct bookings enabled by the tool.
Yeah. So that example really serves as a powerful illustration of the scaling potential the article is describing. It shows how the automation can translate into tangible business results.
That leads perfectly into the ROI question, doesn't it? Return on investment. If you're considering a tool like this, what does the article say about the cost versus the potential gain?
The source gives some indicative pricing tiers for 2025. It's around $40 a month for one property, maybe $100 a month for 5 properties, and somewhere in the $200, $300 per month range for 10 or more.
Okay, so there's a cost, but how does the article frame the return?
Well, if you connect those costs back to the bigger picture benefits presented in the article, things like saving 10+ hours per week.
And think about what your time is worth.
Exactly. Plus, significantly reducing guest issues that drain your energy and generating that extra revenue stream from direct bookings. Wofford argues the return on investment is potentially massive.
Especially for hosts managing, say, more than 3 units.
That seems to be the implication. The value scales up significantly as you manage more properties.
Does the article specify who this is really best suited for?
It does. It lists a range of STR professionals. You've got your individual STR owners, obviously, then arbitrage operators, folks who rent long-term and sublet short-term, boutique property managers handling portfolios for multiple owners, and also remote investors, people who own rentals but aren't physically nearby to manage the day-to-day.
So a fairly broad range within the STR space.
Yeah, the piece suggests all these different types of operators can benefit from this kind of automation, just maybe in slightly different ways or focusing on different features.
And for people already using other tech tools in their hosting business, does the article mention integrations?
It does. It specifically points out that Hospitable integrates with other key pieces of a host's tech stack.
Like what?
Services like RelayFi, which is banking designed specifically for STRs. Price Labs for dynamic pricing, automatically adjusting your nightly rates based on demand, seasonality, etc.
Right.
StayFi, which we mentioned before for the guest Wi-Fi and building that marketing list. And even integrations with cleaner job boards like Turnover BnB to help find and manage cleaning staff.
So it plays nice with others in the ecosystem.
Seems like it, yeah. It's positioned as fitting into a broader set of tools a host might use.
Okay, so after diving into this Wofford article on Hospitable, it really feels like the piece frames this platform as more than just software.
Yeah, the term the article uses is almost like an operating system for an STR business.
An operating system, I like that.
It's presented as something that empowers hosts to actually grow their business, scale up, while simultaneously reducing their personal workload.
Providing those integrated tools for communication automation.
Double booking prevention, which is huge.
Team management, getting cleaners sorted automatically.
And driving those potentially lucrative direct bookings.
Yeah. The article really wraps up by saying this kind of automation helps hosts scale with more confidence, deliver those consistently great guest experiences.
And maybe the biggest benefit for many, protecting their valuable time.
It definitely seems, based on the source, to tackle a lot of the core pain points, the real headaches, for anyone managing short-term rentals today.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
So this deep dive into Hospitable through Wofford's lens, it brings up a really interesting question, I think, for you listening.
Yeah.
If automation tools like this can handle so much of the operational heavy lifting, the messaging, the scheduling, the calendar syncing, even parts of team management, does it fundamentally change what it means to actually be a host?
That's a great question. What becomes the core role, or maybe the essential skill, of the STR owner in this increasingly automated landscape? What's left for the human touch?
Something to think about.